Hey, ARESxGOD here, and it's time to talk about Danmachi, and I gotta say, this episode went pretty much how I expected. We did have this huge turn of events, especially in the last scene. I knew it was gonna turn out along the same lines, didn't have the specific details with Jura, with Turk, but you could have anticipated things like this, especially with. I'm sure pretty much nobody was expecting Ryu to be the main villain behind everything that has been happening. I was very curious what exactly she was gonna do with the way last episode ended with her threatening Belle, but that wasn't really a threat, so to say. More her still being in that mental state over there, but also at the same time it got me very interested, especially in her past. This Jura guy, how he was able to do everything that happened so far, and this last scene that kind of reminded me a bit of Attack on Titan with a Titan in the wall. So let's get into it and talk about it. Now, we had a pretty long recap this week. Then it picks up directly from when Ryu was threatening Belle, and this is where Belle is finally able to get some answers out of Ryu. Granted, he had to be very insisting over there, but at least he got some answers that yes, in fact, Ryu did cut off Jura's arm and ear, but also at the same time she was still not really willing to just answer directly, even only after Belle insisted more and more, especially with the question, what about the murder? And this is where she finally denies that she wasn't the one that murdered John, if I remember his name correctly. Of course, we kind of knew this, it was a bit implied, especially with everything we know about Ryu, but it's always nice to get confirmation because she's one of my favorite characters. Her, Aisha, and Freya are my top 3 girls. If I had to pick one out of the 3, I don't know, it would just be really hard. All 3 of them are just, oof, very hot. And, those are my top 3 girls in Danmachi. No order, I wouldn't even be able to pick top 1. And Freya, while I like Freya, I still don't really know a lot about Freya. Hopefully at some point we're gonna get more information about Freya, but that's probably in the future. For now we have Ryu, and Aisha has already more than proven herself. Same with Ryu. But in here it's all about her in her past in this episode and since this arc started. You can see things finally pulling on the threads, we get some answers, and I really liked how Belle instantly believed her. This is what I like about Belle. It's also strength and also weakness at the same time, because you can't always just instantly trust people, but here he trusted Ryu, he believed her, took her word, and this is where you see the threads, like I said, slowly gets revealed what happened here. And Belle even having that blaze rock he picked up last episode, it revealed it's a blaze rock, sort of like an explosion. And Jura was just playing all along a big huge acting role over here. Give him an Oscar, even though it's kind of obvious a bit just by his face, by not being a trusting individual, so to say, especially with his past and the way his face looks. He just has that face of a villain. Now, even his wounds are old wounds from back when Ryu was hunting, so they're not fresh wounds, so to say, that happened during this chase. And Jura finally drops the acting role over here and reveals himself with a whip weapon and starts going a bit wild. Now, what I liked in the background while Jura was having his speech over there, Belle and Ryu, both of them apologizing to each other for everything that happened, with the way that Ryu acted, with everything, just being way too focused on revenge, so to say. And I'm happy they're finally back on good terms, but they still have a lot of things to deal with, especially later on in the episode. Now, Jura being revealed as a monster tamer with the whip also. Now we have, before we get into the action, very curious that Fels and Uranus are also investigating this at the same time. Fels finding the room with the cages, the monsters over there. So I'm curious what involvement Uranus and Fels are gonna have moving forward. And are we gonna see any Hermes? Since we had Andromeda also being present in last episode, or the one before that, if I remember correctly. I still want that Hermes conversation with Bell. Please give me that. Hopefully we're gonna get it in the future. If Evilus is gonna be more involved, I'm sure Hermes has to play some role. Now, this is where it gets revealed that there are monsters from the deep level floors over there in those cages. They have escaped, or we find out later on they've been taken out. And also Turk was heavily involved. He was working for Jura basically, and he was also in control of one of the monsters. So yeah, Turk definitely, kind of obvious things being revealed to be part of this entire scheme, so to say. They're trying to frame up Ryu. Now we have a battle on two fronts, so to say. Aisha and the group fighting against Turk, and Bell and Ryu fighting against Jura. Both of them facing the same monster. It's revealed to be the huge snake. We only saw the silhouette last episode, kind of like a basilisk, but it's called the Lambton. And apparently it's able to pass through floors, but also prefers staying on the lower floor. So they're definitely brought up here, and it has a lot of power, or at least the muscle, the way it was moving, crashing the dungeons all around them, like going on a rampage. Now also got me really curious with how exactly they were able to control these monsters, and we're gonna get to talk a bit about that. Now Cassandra, throughout the episode, which I feel like she definitely had a point here, still being very worried about the prophecy, even more towards the end of the episode, and we'll talk a bit more about that. Now Aisha also taking charge of the group, asking Lily to lead them to an open field so they're able to fight the Lambton much better, even saving them while they were running. And I'm gonna say it again, I know I'm probably like a broken record. Please, Aisha, join the Hestia family, please. you're too good. Please, could make a perfect fit with the Hestia family. And also Ryu at the same time. Both of them need to be in the Hestia family. I hope, or maybe this entire thing is leading more to I don't know, this is just me shower thought, or however you wanna call it, ever since I thought about the series, and even more in this season with the way Bell was talking. Even though we're not in the same family as a party, we should care for each other. Maybe this entire thing leads to the dismantlement of the family system, and people actually start working more together instead of just being split up on families, rivalries, and things like that. But that's just me thinking way ahead into the future, but you never know. For now, just give me Aisha and Ryu in the same family. Now Aisha, which she was trying to fight, and still I like that small moment there, feeling frustrated she couldn't fulfill Bell's request about keeping an eye on Turk, and that's gonna end up biting them in the ass, even though it wasn't her fault. But I like still thinking about that, even during that moment over there. And it felt like we had a bit of a Goran Lagan moment from the snake. Gigadrill Joy just coiled itself while it was fighting Bell and Ryu, and they're struggling a bit at the beginning, going up against it. Bell actually tried to face it head on. Ryu tried to go after Jura, but that snake instantly went in and protected Jura, stopping Ryu from going after him. This is where a guy finally gets revealed by Jura himself, which kind of typical villain, or lower tier villain. I don't think he's the mastermind behind all of this. He's very deranged, and of course he reveals himself, bragging how he was able to control this monster, saying they have this magic item, the necklace around the snakes. We saw it especially when the snake came out along with the whip. Of course, you're gonna reveal your tool while you're fighting. This is why it's very obvious he's not the one behind all of this. Somebody is definitely using him. Are they just simply using him to get back at Ryu, or is there a bigger plan at play? I don't know, we'll have to find out after they deal with current events, so to say. And yeah, like I said, Jura completely deranged, like losing his mind, revenge, yeah, even that face he was making over there. Now, on the other side of the second battle, Aisha even asking Haruhime to boost Oka and Velf on the Vanguard so they're able to stand against the monster. And it felt like a last stand from them, even her saying she's happy to be there with them, and it's always fun. Haruhime using her boost, this time more in control, not what was last time, 5 or 6 people, but this time only 2 of them. She was already very exhausted and they didn't want to over exhaust her, so just 2 people here. Now this is where things got a lot more interesting, and I have so many questions about Ryu, and we see that throughout this up to this episode, so to say, at least we saw how much Bell has improved, both in strength, stats, level, reputation, even his own experience during battle, showcasing his power, how everybody else relies on him, how good he's in a fight even against very powerful opponents. But he's still lacking, because we see Ryu, which has a lot more actual experience than him. Not to say that Bell doesn't have it, but even he was amazed how good Ryu was fighting against the snake, her decisions making, her actual power, her movement, and so on and so on. So he still has a long way to go, and this is why I love Ryu. She's way too awesome. Even saying she analyzed the patterns of the monsters, and brought in a very good point, because it would have been easy. Hey, if that dude is controlling the snake with the necklace, why don't we just cut off the necklace, right? The easiest solution, go straight for it. But no, it could pose a bigger danger with the monster going more wild. At least like this, they could anticipate what the monster could do based on Jura's action. And she even reveals here that she fought Lambton before. Again, I have more and more questions about her past. And I do want to slap Jura and punch him quite a lot, because he was trying to get under Bell's skin, putting him against Ryu, getting him mad, worked up. He started working a bit, but thankfully Ryu was the voice of, or reason there to keep Bell focused. Now we have Jura confessing his entire plan, like typical villain. He used Turk to slow them down, to frame Ryu. They even were willing to kill one of their own, Jan, to pull this scheme off, which again, I really don't see him as the mastermind behind this. I don't think he has the capability. He's like a middle management pawn, to say the least. Both him and Turk. Turk seems very capable at the task, but not the one to come up with that task, if you get my meaning, both of them. So Jura was just the reaction. Also, we find out a bit later on, we're gonna talk about that. Now, I liked the fight quite a lot, and again, like I'm saying, Ryu was the one in control of the fight, asking Bell to be the one to stop the monster to go on the ground while she takes care of it. The chanting, I don't know why I like chanting attacks so much. Feels like they have a bit more impact. I liked Haruhime chanting. We've seen it throughout the series, quite a few characters. Even here, Ryu chanting again her attack while dodging, fighting against the monster over there. Bell using his firebolt to stop it to go underground, and Ryu firing off luminous wind, which I liked quite a lot. I don't know, it's just a preference of mine. I like chanting attacks. Hopefully we're gonna see more of them, and bigger, badder, stronger at some point. Now on the other side, we have Aisha and the others holding over there. Was a bit of a hold over the door from Oka and Velf. And while they're doing that, Chigusa was firing arrows to slow down the monsters, and Aisha takes care of it with Hell Chaos decapitating monster. So both of them want to actually beat a lower depth monster, both sides, even without Bell, which I like quite a lot from Aisha and the main group, so to say. And here we had Ryu and Bell taking care of one of them. But things worked out, so to say. Even they commented it was a bit easy, and Cassandra made the bigger point, so to say. She was still in shock. This can't be the prophecy, it's too simple, it's not enough horror, not enough tragedy. And she had a big point over there, and I feel like she's putting way too much pressure on herself. Now Jura lost, but he was still in his deranged mode, laughing, still thinking he won, which I kind of agree with him. He kind of won, he accomplished his goal. I don't know what's gonna happen with him. I think he's gonna be killed by his own machinations, so to say. I think this is just the beginning. He was also just a distraction, the same way as Turk. Again, I don't think he's the one behind all of this. We had Turk, while they managed to escape Aisha and the others, they set up more explosives throughout the dungeon, crumbling everything around them, setting up a chain reaction there. And Jura said they were making the dungeon delirious from taking too much damage. But like they're summoning kind of like a defense mechanism of the dungeon, not really like a floor level boss, not the overwhelming the dungeon's repair system, thinking that this great floor took way too much damage, so something more is happening. Saying he summoned despair, which got me very curious. The atmosphere started changing around them. You knew what he had done and instantly wanted to kill him, was more than mad, furious over there. Belle stopped her, held her back, and you can see trembling, past trauma coming back to her. Not again, it's exactly the same, it's coming, so she knows what's happening and what is coming. And also mentioned a name, Elise, somebody from her past, probably somebody she lost or couldn't save. Hopefully we're gonna get some flashbacks of Ryu. I know some of you have mentioned in the comments with Sword Oratoria, but I don't think we have the full story of everything. I hope they're gonna give more justice to the main series, so to say, so I get more context, especially with Ryu's past. And from anger, trauma, despair, she went in full-on fear, telling Belle to run. At least you have to escape. So you can see how experienced she is, how good of a fighter she is, everything she has done. For somebody like her to be in this state says quite a lot about what is coming. Now even Cassandra felt something more is coming, so her prophecy slowly and slowly starting to come true, and it's shown this scene, or at least a frame with eyes in the walls of the dungeons. It really reminded me of Attack on Titan. A bit of a spoiler with I don't know if you have watched Attack on Titan, but Titans in the walls over the kind of that same feeling, to say the least. So disaster is coming. What does that mean? What exactly it is? Probably gonna find out next episode. And I'm having a lot of fun with the series, but it feels like with each episode more and more I have this question, that question, that question. What is that? What does that mean? When this is coming? Hopefully we're gonna get some exposition, so to say. We need a lot of answers happening here. And also I'm curious with Bors. Is he finally gonna realize that Ryu is not the one responsible for everything that happened? And even everybody else, they were really quickly to jump the gun with going after you. Granted, she had that reputation, but still, yeah, to say the least, I'm very excited for next episode. I'm curious how big is this disaster, this monster, this defense mechanism, whatever it is that is coming. And will they be able to stop Cassandra's prophecy? We're gonna have to wait and see. So yeah, I can't wait for next episode. I'm curious what you guys thought about this episode. Were you also on the same lines as me, knowing that Ryu and everything around her was gonna end up in the same way, with her not being responsible. Something more was definitely happening. What do you think about this new threat that is coming? I also don't have any answers about that huge monster. How did it evolve to that point? Again, like I'm saying, so many questions. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought about the episode and where do you think it's heading. Remember, no spoilers, and as always, remember to like and subscribe, helps me quite a lot, and you guys get the latest videos on the series that I follow. So keep enjoying Danmachi. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.